straight, controllers on the plate. We talk game worlds, old rules, new fights. Crits in the dark and theories all night. So lean in close, we got more to say. We're Logan and Brett here to brighten your day. My dude, my guy. Say it out loud. My dude, my guy. We're nerding it out from D&D dreams to boss fight pride. My dude, my guy. Come take the
Hello everybody and welcome to My Dude,
My guy.
and as always I'm Brett here with my dude Logan,
I am Logan here with my guy Brett.
and this week we've got a pretty fun episode for you, haven't we, Logan?
Yeah, we do. Also, real quickly, just a little fun fact, just because obviously listening to the jingle, when the lyrics were getting done for it, I did a typo. And it's very small. I wonder if anyone noticed. I hope you'll go back to listen to it, see if you noticed it. I double worded the word "to." So this is just a little filler thing. But if you just if you listen to it, it says Logan and Brett here to brighten your day.
Logan and Brett here to brighten your day.
And now that I've said it, if you really listen to it, you'll hear it.
To brighten your day.
And I just can't unhear it now. Like whenever I listen to it, I always like even sing it like to brighten your day.
It sounds good though. It sounds right. It actually works, to be honest.
I think it's like that on the full versions as well. I can't fully tell. It might very well be. Yeah, just could be dark for a hot second, just because I want to see the lyrics, just to see if they are.
Don't remember, to be honest with you.
Nope, I changed it when the full ones got done because I noticed it.
Nice.
But yeah, cool.
Okay. Well, there we go. A nice little bit of trivia for you. For those that are...
I guess we quiz you guys.
Yeah, well, exactly. And for those that are massive fans of our jingle. Because it is catchy.
It is. It really is.
How many times do you listen to it a day, Logan?
Well, obviously it's Suno. So I listen to it at the start before I listen to any of my other like D&D songs and stuff that I've done. So I'll always like start off with those, and then it's like, okay, now I'll crack on with my character songs. It just warms up nicely into it, so it's like, okay, cool.
It's just
but definitely
you can't listen
once a day at least.
I don't think you can listen to it when you're depressed, though. It's too happy.
Oh man, yeah.
The energy's too high, isn't it?
Yeah, you, like when you want to be sad. Like for like a hot minute when you don't want to try and be Batman, you just that's right. Yeah, oh no, because we said that sadness is wanting to be Batman.
I would never not want to be Batman, even if I was unhappy.
I mean, he's not the happiest guy, so I guess it makes sense. It's kind of like what we were saying before, wasn't
it? Yeah.
Delve into the darkness and just tuck away everything.
Got to feel it.
Absolutely. And you can't have my dude, my guy in your ear when you're trying to be the darkness. So.
Nope. That's it. Like, that's what I'm saying. It's too happy. It's too upbeat. And when you're miserable and you're mopey, you want to listen to miserable shit.
Absolutely.
But speaking of which, actually, that kind of leads into what we're doing this episode. So, in this episode, we're going to start with a question. If you were stranded on a desert island and you could only take one game franchise, one movie, one superhero, one anime, what would you choose? That's exactly what we're going to find out this week. So, today's episode is inspired by the legendary BBC radio programme Desert Island Discs. For decades, for those who aren't aware, guests have been asked what 8 pieces of music they'd take with them if they were stranded alone on a desert island. It's a brilliant way of learning about someone through the sort of like the things that they just simply would choose to take and they feel like they couldn't live without. So it's a really good premise. It's been going for years and years and years, and it's really cool. Like some of the tracks that people pick, it's just like, oh yeah, fucking awesome. But basically, we're taking that idea and we're just fucking nerdifying it. So instead of music, Logan and I are taking it in turns, choosing the one thing we'd save and be stranded with on a desert island from different areas of pop culture. So whether it's games, comics, movies, TV, anime, or characters, once we've made our choice, everything else is gone forever.
No going back.
That's it. No loopholes, no changing our minds. Some of these decisions have been surprisingly difficult. Some have already
They
called.
were hard, man.
Yeah, it was hard. We don't know what each other have picked. It's complete.
Some of them have actually gone against like initial favorites that I spoke about before because we've spoken about this is something that is not. It's like quite contradictory because it's not something that would be a favorite, but it's something that you just would want forever.
Well, it's a change of perspective if you think that you're going to be stranded on a desert island. You know, it's like, okay, well, this is all I'm going to be able to digest for ever, basically.
Yeah.
So, you know, that's basically it. But yeah, we're not doing any of this. Oh well, you know, I'd be stuck with the whole library of Marvel's animated cartoons. No, it's one. You just don't get stupid.
It'd be X-Men or it'd be Superman, Spider-Man. Fucking hell.
Yeah, exactly. I agree. Exactly. Of course, by the end of this, anyone who wants to play along and they want to send in what they would pick, we would love to hear some of your suggestions. So, you know, we're going through the categories, and if you send in yours, we'd love to. We'll probably read them out on the next episode if you submit any. We'd love to hear what you would pick, and also, you know, for you to tell us what you think to our choices, because some of us, I think they might be a bit enlightening. You know, I think they might be quite enlightening.
I feel like one of us are going to have one that'll be the same answer. Absolutely.
Do you think?
One of them, I think. Ooh, now don't do that because you did this last one and it made me second guess myself. Now I already feel like I've already corrected myself in my head now, actually.
Okay.
So before you say it, I'm going to give my opinion on what I feel like you've chosen instead.
Now, this is the one thing, actually, I haven't quite sort of decided on how we're going to do it. Are we going to do a category and we take it in turns?
One by one.
Do you want to do it like that?
By category? Yeah, I think that'd be cool. Instead of one person just having their thing, I think we back and forth, it go down each category on what one thing we'd keep from that category.
Okay, we'll do it like that then. We'll do it like that then. Okay, so everybody...
I was going to shoot you off at first because I've been going first the past few times, you know.
You was going to what now? Shoot me off? Anyway, everybody grab a drink and get comfortable, and let's...
Not saying no.
Dude, I'd never say no. Never.
Right.
So, okay.
Cozy, guys.
Yeah, let's get into it. Sit back, relax, and hear what we would love to be... Well, not love. What we would choose to be stranded
with
on a desert island. So this is
Absolutely.
Desert Island Nerd.
Dun, dun, dun.
We should have come up with a thing for that. But yeah, that'll do.
I should have made a jingle. Like my guy Desert Island or something. I don't know.
Maybe for next time.
Anyway, Brett, my guy. If you were stranded on a desert island and there was only one game franchise you could play and not play any other games at all, just one franchise that you can play any of those games for, what game franchise would it be?
This was a tough one for me because there's been two game franchises, probably two, that have been fundamental into my sort of like cultural fan obsession over franchises.
I forget what they are, but I'm gonna.
And it was difficult to choose between the two, and
I can imagine it was tough for you.
It was really tough. And
one of them definitely I would have easier pick for me, but
yeah, because
the other one I can understand why though for you.
Yeah, you know what I'm gonna choose.
I know which two you get,
and you know the two. Yeah, you know the two as well. You do.
I know the two. I really don't know which one though, because that's tough. One of them's all over your arm, and the other one's all over your YouTube.
You're right. You're fucking right as well. That's exactly the two. So, the choices were And I was really backwards and forwards with this, which is why I gave you the categories when I sort of narrowed it down. I was like, you're going to need as much time over this as I am. And I had it whittled down between The Legend of Zelda and Resident Evil. And ultimately,
As soon as you did that, I already knew which two you were picking. Absolutely.
what do you think I went for?
So this is tough. I feel like Zelda holds a special place to you, but from what I'm seeing from your YouTube, when it comes to replayability, I'd probably say I feel like you would have chosen Resident Evil.
You're absolutely right. Yeah. And it's because, like, the thing is with Resident Evil is that so many of the games, and that's not to say Legend of Zelda isn't like this as well, but so many of the games feel so different. You know, you can get these really sort of puzzle heavy versions of Resident Evil and then the really action oriented versions, and they all feel so very different. And I kind of feel like if I was going to be stuck on a desert island, only able to play one franchise, at least that would be like, okay, well, I really fancy just doing that now. Okay, well, I fancy taxing myself a little bit more, even though I've played it and I know all the puzzles. I could do that again, and I feel like there's more I could get out of a franchise like Resident Evil. I mean, obviously, I love them as well. You know, it's a case of so many amazing characters, all the lore and everything. But when you think of all the, even the crappy offshoots of it, like all the spin-offs, like playing them's fun in its own way.
But you literally have access to all of them. So
That's it. You've got the full library to play. Where you see with Legend of Zelda, they are incredible games, but even though I've got all of them, they aren't really games that I revisit once I've maybe played a few of them more than once, but they're not really games that I revisit to finish.
and I hate to say it as much as I love Zelda, but the concept is slightly the same in every game.
Yeah, exactly.
You wake up from a long slumber or a shipwreck or whatever, and you adventure, you find a special sword, and you save the princess.
That's it. The premise is overall the same. You know, I mean, the games like Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom have really elevated that into the amount of freedom that you have in those games.
Oh, hell yeah.
And they are absolutely incredible. But as you say, by and large, they are still very much just evolved versions of the games that came before it, and they are just they are dungeon games, aren't they? You know, so yeah, I mean, I love them, and I always will. And as you say, I've got it all over my freaking arm for crying out loud, you know. And I wouldn't do that if I didn't love it.
Absolutely.
Ever since I was, you know, really young, Legend of Zelda was like always up there. Always obsessed with the lore of every game. Yeah, I mean, I'm literally sat next to a full shelf of the stuff. If I get any more stuff, I don't even know where it's gonna go. I've got that much stuff. So yeah, you know, it's, well, I say a full shelf. It's a full bookcase, is what I'm saying, from like the ceiling down to the ground.
Oh, yeah.
So yeah, but it would have to be Resident Evil. But again, because of, as you've seen, you know, I'm playing them through them on our YouTube channel, and it's great replaying them all, because moving from one to the next is always like, there's still another learning curve. It's like, oh, well, what next? What have I got to learn next? Oh yeah, I remember that the zombies in this move differently, and oh, the guns, what guns are in this? Oh yeah, I remember that the guns in this are, that one's shit, but that one's good. But in the next one, that one could be shit, and that one could be good instead. And yeah, it's just, there's just so much to love about Resident Evil, and the fact that they're still calling back to the very earliest releases in terms of story is just so cool. Like, after all this time, they haven't bothered to reboot it. They haven't, you know, franchise that's like 30 years old and they're still making sequels that harken back to the original is really fucking cool. So,
yeah.
you know, it's just awesome. I love it. Absolutely love it. So that's what I'd pick. And
Absolutely.
I'd probably find I'd still even play only a handful of them in that franchise. But the fact that I know I could play all of the other crapper ones and shitter ones if I wanted to, then I could. And I've got plenty of fucking
Fancy a bit of
games.
change in the middle of like the better ones, so you can kind of like build yourself back in and whatnot.
Yeah, exactly. And the thing is as well, like each game has got its own like sub game inside it. You know, a lot of them have like a bonus game, like the mercenaries or the battle modes and things like that. And then so you could literally be playing those games for hours and hours and hours. Like even once you've beaten the campaign, and then all the unlockables to get. You know, like, oh, if I beat it within a certain time, I'll unlock that, and then you can get the fucking infinite rocket launcher, and then just playing that just for fun, just to blow everything up is awesome. So there's each game's just loaded with stuff, and it's ultimately why I had to go for it. You know, does it mean that I think Resident Evil is a better game than Legend of Zelda? No, it's just I'm going to be stuck on a fucking desert island, man. I gotta pick one. So what am I going to pick? Well, I'm going to pick that. So that's
Considering there's like no talking either, so you feel like you just go insane.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, like you're not going to be stuck there with anybody. You literally got your games. So okay, well at least I can just get lost in.
Oh, well, until the next question's cast, anyway.
Exactly. But first, you need to answer this question.
I do. So mine was it was a bit difficult. I was stuck between like 3 different franchises.
Okay.
If I'm going to be honest. But I'll say what it was. I'll tell you the runner-ups. If you couldn't guess any.
I don't know if I could, to be honest.
I just play such a vast amount of games, and I have such a love for so many franchises of games. It was tough. But I think due to the volume of the games, how many there is, and just all down to the storytelling of the game too, I've got to go with God of War.
I see, that seems so fucking obvious now you've said it. I can't believe I didn't even think of that.
I was just, oh man, I was thinking about it. I was like, which one would be so replayable? But because from the new era and the older era, the game style's different as well.
Yes.
And not only that, it's just the character development in it as well. It's always a story that so draws you in every single time on every single one of his games that it's just I would happily just replay. There's some that aren't amazing but still good, but none of them are bad. So I'd happily just replay those till day's end, literally.
Yeah.
So
I'd agree with that.
So, and there's not really my runner-ups was going to be probably Spider-Man. I'd be able to play Miles, but I wouldn't play Miles much.
Why?
I'm not a fan of the hero Miles, and in this, it's like one. I don't think they put enough love into his game.
Yeah, well, it wasn't a full release though, was it? It was.
I feel like it should have been. It was like a 1.5.
Yeah, it was bigger than a DLC, but not big enough to be a game. And I think if they'd released,
But it's the same price as the fucking game. It was insane.
it was a bit less though, wasn't it? I thought it was a bit less.
Still 40 quid.
I mean, it's still pricey, but when you think new release games are 60 these days.
Yeah, but it's just because I remember Spider-Man 1, and I remember as soon as I new gamed it, I new game plus it. Then I new game plus it. Then I new game plus it. And something about the story for it just felt like it not tedious.
Hmm.
There were some things in it that was, but the side stuff you don't even have to do it. Spider-Man 2, I don't find it as replayable, but the story is still really good. The first one, without a doubt, has the best story because it's a direct focus on one character instead of this ping-ponging.
Hmm.
With the Miles one, it felt like they brushed over a lot of his story. Again, when the game's only got like 7 hours of story gameplay, that's really rushed compared to, well, I think it's like 20, 21 hours for Spider-Man 1.
Yeah.
And then it's like 25 for Spider-Man 2. I'm just like, I was like, there we go. I was like, and I've happily replayed Spider-Man 1 so many times. But whenever I think about it, the connection and the enjoyment of God of War probably beats it. because I've
Well,
replayed God of War 1 a lot and God
yeah,
of War 3 quite a lot as well.
yeah.
And then as a safety net, like I was gonna say Zelda, but it's more because that's one of my favorite games is from there. It was just kind of like, again, it's because if I'm on a desert island, I'm not gonna have many people to talk to. It's gonna kind of be like I'm going insane because there's no one to talk to.
And because the vast majority of the Zelda games have no voice acting in them as well, not hearing another voice.
The only one you've got is in the Ocarina of Time, and it's the Pixie
Hey,
Fairy,
listen.
and that's all you get. And then imagine trying to forage for food and stuff, and all you've got in your ear is just that, and you're not even playing the game at that point. It's just it imprints. It's
Yeah.
like when I was on my deep dive of playing too much Fortnite, I felt like I could hear chests all the time.
Just walking around and all you can hear is, oh.
Yeah, I'm just like,
Yeah.
do I break the wall?
Yeah. No, I know exactly
But
what you mean. You do get. I remember when I can't remember which Assassin's Creed it was now, but I'd been hammering one of the Assassin's Creeds, and I remember having a dream one night. I went to bed, had a dream, and I was running over rooftops and parkouring everywhere. And I woke up and I was just like, I don't think I need to take a break from Assassin's Creed. Like I'm playing it too fucking much.
I got real bad with Black Flag, like to a point where when I was living with my uncle, luckily when I was playing it, I wasn't at college at the time. I was like just in between courses, so I spent like a full day from morning till night without moving from the couch unless I really needed to piss. And it got to a point where I was like, dude, you stink. You need to get a shower. But like when you're in it, and obviously you can like pay for prostitutes to distract, or you can pay for drunkards to distract. And I'm there because I'm starting the game. I'm like telling them with my hands where to go. And my uncle's just like, "What are you doing?" I was like, "I'm just telling them in the game where to go." And he's like, "But they can't see you. You know this, right?" I was like, "Maybe I'm just in the animus. I don't know what to tell you."
Maybe I'm just a little bit too into it.
A method gamer instead of a method actor.
Yeah. But no, I know what you're saying though, because I when I was thinking back through my games, and like you said about Spider-Man, I started thinking about the Arkham games, and I was like, Arkham City is one of the best games I've ever played because it's probably the one game where you actually feel like you're Batman. The freedom that you've got in it and everything. The combat system in Batman is just fucking incredible. And I was very close to maybe putting that up there as one of my choices to be torn between. But then I was like, yeah, but to be fair, with the similar sort of thought as to what I was having about your Spider-Man choice that you picked, I was like, well, but they're still very much the similar sort of game. Like although they are different in their own respect, and one is an upgrade over the other, it's still very much the same, more of the same through each one. You've got Arkham Asylum.
It's a rehash of the previous.
Yeah.
And it's just more or less more of the same, basically.
Yeah, that's it. You get Arkham Asylum into City. And then Night is a bigger evolution over that. You've got Origins in there, which is great. Really enjoyed Origins, but at the same time though, they are just still very much all the same game.
Just think though, there is one that's a little bit different. That's part of that franchise.
The
Suicide Squad. You can have some real good fun with that,
Shall we move on to the next one?
Maybe.
Please. Because there was another one. There was a 3DS game I think called Blackgate.
There was, and it was on PS Vita as well.
Oh, was it? Yeah, and it was
I think it might have been PS Vita.
It was like a 2.5 side scrollery type game, I think. Yeah. Which is a little bit different, but I'd rather play that than Suicide Squad. Just saying. I haven't played Suicide Squad.
I tried Suicide Squad because the premise of it seemed pretty cool. The story seemed really cool. I enjoyed that, so I was like, I'll give it a try. Oh god, dude, the mechanics of the buttons, grim, man. Like the gameplay just felt so mismatched. I was watching clips online of just like the actual story. I'm like, this looks hella fun to play. And then it came to doing it, I was like, ugh, no thanks. Hard pass.
It never appealed to me at all at any point. But yeah, Anyway,
But God of War takes the throne.
good choice.
Kratos, my boy.
Good choice, and I can see why. It's a good choice, that, to be fair.
So yep. So I've got God of War, and you have Resident Evil.
Mm-hmm.
Round 2. Brett, as you're playing this game, and franchise, and you're alone for now. A plane comes by, and what superhero would you like to be stranded on this desert island with?
So, when we make the decision, it's not with this sort of like, oh, well, I'd have Superman because then he could fly me off the island. Huh? No bullshit like that. You're stranded on the island. There's no escape.
Imagine you're in a dome and there's no leaving.
Yeah, can't get
desert
away.
island and dome.
Yeah, that's it. So
But somehow these guys are just accessed. Ignore my interlude.
There. Doesn't matter. So,
But yeah, someone appears behind you. What hero would you want to be stranded? It's not favorite hero. It's what hero would you want to be stranded with?
I would want to be stranded with Hawkeye.
He'd be a great hunter.
Exactly.
Craven's a bad guy. Never mind.
He's a bit of a dick.
I was going to say, if you want the best one, he's Craven.
Yeah, but he's not a hero either. He's
oh no, that's what I mean. Yeah.
So, yeah, I'd go with Hawkeye because I think Hawkeye's quite a down to earth dude. You know, he's quite he's quite a humble, down to earth dude. Hella skilled, so he could teach me stuff, teach me how to hunt, use bow and arrow, and he's proficient in using a lot of weapons. Martial arts expert. We could just vibe playing Resident Evil, and then just fucking Clint. I've used bow and arrow before. I think I'm pretty good. But teach me to be the fucking best. Yeah, sure, bro.
Oh, yeah, man.
Let's fucking go do it.
He's going to be the next Kate Bishop, Brett Bishop.
Brett Bishop, right there.
Oh.
And
It's
going to literally serve no purpose other than shooting arrows at trees and potentially shooting them into the water to get fish.
I do think with this round we should merge 2 and 3 together because I feel like it would help the situation.
Okay. Yeah, but that's who I would pick. I mean, there was a lot of heroes that I was thinking about. I was like, oh,
it was a tough one.
It was a tough one.
It's not just comics or heroes. It's you've got movie heroes like normal movies or people that are classed as just a hero.
Mm.
Like hypothetically, you could have Rambo.
Can you imagine?
You could have Terminator.
Well, yeah, I guess so.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't want him. He'd be so boring.
Oh yeah, he would.
Jesus Christ. But what I mean is that obviously it's not all down to just superheroes, basically.
Mm. But yeah, I think for me it was Hawkeye. I was thinking about things like Batman. I was like, yeah, but he'd be so fucking dull, wouldn't he? You know what I mean?
It's one-sided conversations all the time, and you'd just be fangirling the whole time.
Yeah, well, that's it. But you'd soon get bored of that because when they say don't meet your heroes, that's kind of like it with Batman because you'd be like, oh yeah, but Batman, you're so fucking cool, and he wouldn't even fucking talk to you, would he?
He wouldn't respond to a question like that.
So you'd just be like, okay, well, actually, it turns out you're a bit rude. You're just boring. Don't even want.
Kind of a dick, really.
Yeah, you're actually a bit of a dick. So no, I don't. So I won't be stuck with Batman. And then I was thinking about other heroes, Cyclops is cool, but he's a bit straight laced, isn't he? He'd be constantly there.
You want someone that you can maybe have a giggle with, like someone that you'd have to take life too seriously with.
Yeah.
You are stuck in a very serious situation. Last thing you want is more serious.
Mm. And I can imagine that Hawkeye, Clint, he would be a bit sort of well, it is what it is. We're stuck in this shit situation. Let's just make the most of it. He's a pretty easygoing dude. I mean, he can be a bit of a hothead, and he's wound a bit tight from time to time. But generally speaking, he's a pretty down-to-earth, chill dude. And I think I'd get on well with him.
That's a pretty good answer. I like that. And just to make sure your mind is definitely made up, if you had to also, another plane comes by and magically appears in this dome behind you. If you had to pick a villain to be stuck on this desert island with also, who would you pick?
Now, villain was much harder to pick.
You and Hawkeye playing Resident Evil.
Exactly. So this was much harder for me to pick, purely because, let's be honest, villains are usually a bit of a dick because
It's tough.
they're villains.
You need to pick one that's almost going to be afraid of the good guy.
Yeah, you know, or like someone you could like sort of generally reason with, have a good chat
Almost
with. I
relate
think.
with
Yeah.
borderline.
So I picked Magneto.
Okay, that's yeah.
I thought
I respect that.
for a start, he could teach me how to play chess because I've never learned how to play chess. So I was
I'm
like,
very
okay.
middle at playing chess.
You're sorry?
I'm very middle at chess.
Oh, yeah.
Very middle.
Yeah.
That's an honesty. I'm not great.
Never. It seems like a game I should be able to play. Charlotte says that all the time, but I've never learned how to play chess. So I was
You
like,
do give
well,
off chess vibes.
yeah, I know. I don't know how to play. So I'd be like, Mags, you need to teach me how to play chess, son.
That's
And
not
he'd
bad
probably,
shout.
he'd probably get a
That's
bit
pretty
offended
good.
at me calling him son, but I'd still call him son.
Oh, Mags.
Yeah, he probably won't like that either. But you know,
But, hey, Mags, right?
Mags, you know the whole chess thing that you and fucking
Come on.
Charles are always playing. Come on, let's play.
Come on. Make a chessboard.
Yeah, come on, Clint, get a chessboard out, son. So I'd
He just makes one out of arrows.
yeah, he knows what he's
Scratches
doing.
it in the sand.
Yeah, he knows.
You know what? I can respect that choice.
Because I think also, I
wasn't sure about like anti-heroes if they were villains because they've still done villainous stuff.
we did say villains.
We did say villains, didn't we?
We did.
Oh God.
But you see, for me, I was thinking, well, I think I could have some really good philosophical conversations with Magneto as well. I'd be like, look, your choices about and your views about humanity based on who you are, but also based on the experiences you went through as a child, don't you kind of feel like that's a little paradoxical? You know, it's a bit contradictory. And I'd like to really get into it with him. And I'm sure he'd say, you know, basically, you're a fucking idiot. You don't know what you're talking about. And you try and crush my skull with something. But I think I could get into some right good conversations with the guy. And we'd do it over chess, like gentlemen.
I like that. That's pretty good.
So yeah, I think Magneto. I think he'd, you know, for everything that he's been through, everything that he stood for, you know, his history with the X-Men on both good and bad terms. I think he'd have some real good stories. And when you just didn't want to,
Is he an anti-hero because he's done some good?
Nah, I mean, he'll always be classed. I mean, if you pull up a list of Marvel villains,
And list of X-Men villains, Magneto will be on it. Yeah.
X-Men villains, Marvel villains, Magneto's always rated right up there. I mean, in terms of X-Men villains, he's always number one, obviously. He's their main villain. But if you bring up a poll of best rated Marvel villains, I can guarantee you Magneto is top 5.
Yeah.
So he is classed as a villain. And yeah, okay, he sketches from time to time because of he's obviously got his interests of protecting mutants, and sometimes that is a bit of a grey area. But generally speaking, you know, he is a villain, isn't he? So I'd be just like, look, if I didn't feel like playing Resident Evil, I just wanted to chill, I didn't want to talk, I'd be like, look, Mags, come on, tell us a story. Tell us about the day.
Is he just always got his helmet on, or we're talking like beginning of '97?
Yeah, well, that's his choice, isn't it? If he wants to fucking have a metal helmet on underneath the baking
the helmet
sun.
is purely just to keep Charles out.
Yeah,
And
although
we finally finished season 1, and it was very obvious the only reason he wears it is to keep Charles out.
Although that was, and it's kind of contradicted itself in the X-Men 97 cartoon as well, because that whole thing of Magneto wearing a helmet to keep Charles out was created for the movies. Because the only character who wore a helmet to protect himself from psychic probes originally was Juggernaut. It's Juggernaut.
There's his brother in it.
Yeah. So, and he had the helmet as part of the armor with the Juggernaut armor that he got, which is magical as well. That's from the Crimson Gem of Sitarak. He gets those powers.
You'll know better than I will. Is Juggernaut actually classed as a mutant, or is he just mystic because of the helmet?
It's Mystic. I don't know what they're doing with him these days in the
So
comics.
that's what I mean. So he's not a mutant himself. He's Mystic.
Yeah, his powers
He
come.
just got sick of his brother playing with his mind when he was a kid.
Yeah, well, he when he got his powers, he went after his brother, didn't he? Because he was like vengeful about how his brother would like.
How he was special.
Well,
And he's got
yeah,
a house and everything.
how he felt like he'd been forced out and stuff. Yeah. So, but yeah, I don't know if these days in the comics they've somehow retconned him and turned him into some sort of a mutant or whatever. Because from time to time you do see him hanging around with the X-Men, and he has been like a regular in their lineup before. But the last time, well, I certainly remember in the Avengers versus X-Men storyline, it was still Mystic because Colossus had the Juggernaut armor, making him even
It became the unstoppable Colossus.
Yeah, he fucking became a right beast.
Buffed up his metal as well, didn't it?
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, I don't know what they're doing with him these days, but yeah, Juggernaut is, from the last I understood it, unless it's changed, he was human, mystic powers given to him by a gem. But yeah, the whole helmet thing for Magneto, they adapted that into the comics and everything after they did that with the movie. I think that was because they were trying to find a reason why he would go around with this helmet on. But the helmet's iconic.
I thought the helmet was actually to make him fly. I thought he was pulling himself onto the helmet and then moving the helmet, and that's how he was flying.
Oh, that's an interesting concept.
That is genuinely what I believed it to be, instead of him pushing himself away from the magnetic field plates or magnetic plates.
That's it. He's manipulating magnetic fields to help him fly.
He's pushing himself up there. But I actually thought it was just him holding himself to the helmet and then lifting up the helmet. Like, I was like, in retrospect, that makes more sense.
Yeah, I mean, it does, but it hurts, surely. You know, I mean, just he'd have to wrap this helmet around his head and like.
No, that's what I mean. He's like magically pulling himself to the helmet and then moving the helmet. It's just like holding on to it, like metaphorically, and then moving the helmet. That's what I once thought it was.
Yeah.
And until I realised it was just him being a chicken, being around Charles.
Yeah. So I think that's in the film they wanted to give reason for the helmet because the helmet is so iconic against the character. They were like, okay, we need to sort of explain a reason for him to have this helmet, and then they were like, oh yeah, but Juggernaut wears a helmet, and that's to keep Charles out. Well, that would actually make sense that Magneto would want to do the same, and then they just did that. So, because in the original animated series, there's plenty of times Xavier has spoken with Magneto while he's still wearing the helmet. Yeah.
But obviously, in X-Men '97, like he's not wearing it at all, and then he's like, oh shit. Xavier's back.
Yeah. Well,
puts it on instantly. I'm like, Jesus Christ.
Well, it all goes tits up, doesn't it? After Genosha and everything, and then he comes back.
We've finished season 1 now, so we're
good.
about to start watching season 2. So it was very nice. I've started to have some massive love for Nightcrawler.
Oh,
as I was watching it, Kira was just like, I can't get Khan out of my head.
Oh yeah.
I was like, I can't lie. Nightcrawler is the main inspiration for Khan.
For those,
give you guys a bit of an insight as well. Yeah, Khan is an NPC in D&D that was a shifter. He could teleport. He had the model for him was literally. You're not gonna be able to see it very well, but for those OGs out there, oh god,
it's a shame it doesn't.
I think you can tell it enough, a little bit.
Yeah.
But Legacy of Kain. The three fingers.
We didn't have a name for him, did we? So we called him Khan.
We initially said Kain. I was like, change that.
Yeah.
Because obviously he teleports and he helps you guys, and he spoke to you telepathically as well, just to make some something playful. And then he last session disintegrated. We'll breeze past that, and Brett, it's your turn.
Shocking! Can't believe you did that. So so that would be my choices: Hawkeye and Magneto, and they're my reasons why. So anyhow, so same scenario, essentially. You're there,
just playing God of War.
That's chilling. It. Playing God of War. You're on God of War 3, and then all of a sudden you're like, that looks like a boat in the distance. What's that?
Who the fuck's that?
Who the fuck is that on there? And then as it gets closer and closer, you start to see, Oh my god. It's...
What is Spider-Man doing here?
What the fuck? It's Spider-Man on the fucking boat!
Why has he come to see me, of all people? I mean, so he should.
Why is he here?
And now we can't leave, and he's come on a boat. That's wild.
Unlucky
A
Pete.
one-way boat, no more fuel in it.
Unlucky Pete.
That's what it is. It was just going with the waves. Hopefully, brought some rations and things out, of course. But yeah, it was tough. That was a tough choice. I was stuck between. I really wanted the childishness, and just like, but I was stuck between rather Goku or Spider-Man. Goku isn't serious enough.
I think you'd do your head in after a while.
I agree. As much as I have so much love for him, it would get to a point where I'm just like, can we please just have a normal conversation? And I kind of don't want to be your sparring buddy.
Yeah.
I'm like, you're going to lay me out. Like, you're going to breathe near me and I'm going to fall.
Yeah.
But the one good thing would be is training with Goku. If Krillin, an Earthling, can get to the level that he does, you know, I'd take some training from Goku. But
Yeah.
I didn't pick Goku. I picked Spider-Man. More for his intellect, his sense, his childlike in nature, and just someone that I could have two types of conversations with. Silly, stupid, bull conversations, exactly like this. We'd be talking about Desert Island while being on Desert Island.
Yep.
That's a Spider-Man conversation right there.
Yeah.
And then I'd be like, oh well. Then I start asking, how do your web shooters work? Oh, when you defeated this guy, I was like, how did you do that? And I'd just be geeking out, asking him questions. But again, I feel like he's one of those where he'd not egotistically, but he'd almost be excited to tell people how he's learned something.
Yeah.
And he's stuck on the island for a long time. It'd be up to him if he chose to let me know his identity. We're probably going to die there, so we might. So it'd also be nice to know Peter Parker too. So
Be kind of weird if he just sort of like, I mean, he's going to
the
be
whole
hot.
time just left his mask on.
Left his mask on.
You are crazy. He's just walking around dripping.
That's it. Walking around
Like,
with
dude,
his
that's gross, bro.
shorts on, but he's got his mask
He's
on.
cut him into shorts and a vest. And he's just shirtless with a mask on. I'm like,
I'd be
dude,
it's
don't
starting...
turn me.
Yeah, I'd be like, this is starting to feel like some sort of weird kink. Take the mask off,
I'm
dude.
like, I came to this island straight, and now
And I'm like,
and now I'm questioning things.
yeah.
How old are you again?
What's the B stand for in Peter B. Parker? The bomb boy.
It's a bum boy. It's yeah.
Hopefully.
Hopefully it's Ben there because I'm not been his bottom. That's what B is for. That's what B's for.
Bottom.
Peter Bottom Parker. Bottom Parker. That makes him sound like the Dom, like he parks in bottoms.
Yeah, it does.
He's a bottom parker. He parks in. There's no way to fix that. I'm his sub. So there we go.
All right, let's turns out you're going to be the bottom, Logan.
We're both going to shoot webs. It's fine. While I'm playing God of War.
Yeah, that's it.
Oh man.
Just
Oh man.
at least you can play while he's doing that.
Yeah, I've just got to ignore the fact of what he's doing. I mean, I do think he'd be aggressive. Hopefully,
I think he'd be
I think he'd be a loving man.
I think he'd be a gentleman. I think it'd be quite
Too much
affectionate.
drama.
Yeah, I think he'd be an affectionate lover.
But yeah, hopefully we'd just be mates and not do that. But I like the way I'm making it sound like it has to come to that.
No, I was just gonna say, I love the fact that now it's become a thing that if Peter Parker, aka Spider-Man, arrives on your island, you're gonna become
his partner.
That's it.
I have to be his
You're
son.
gonna become lovers.
There's me like mumbling under my breath, going, "Oh, I wish we could just be friends."
Yeah.
And it's like, why?
And he's there like, nope, we're not being friends.
With great power comes great responsibility. Can you understand?
I have a responsibility here.
It's to use my great power.
Yeah, boy.
And obviously, because of his Spidey grip, he can't let go, so I can't move, and he's stronger than me. It's just inevitable.
And that's ultimately why you would be bottom, because he's the more dominant one.
Yeah, he's a butt packer. So
Yep.
fuck's sake.
Sorry, dude. But it's a good choice otherwise, apart from being his lover.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's a great choice.
Thank you.
It does make sense because, again, he's sort of childish, carefree in his way. So you could have light conversations, humorous conversations, but
And he'd understand the situation as well. He'd be like, "Oh shit, yeah, we are kind of stuck. So let's look at our options as well." And then once we've built our house out of his webs and he's made us like,
can you imagine him making a really cool like hammock out of webs?
That's literally in my head. That's what I'm thinking. I'm like, instant beds. I mean, they'd last an hour. Then he'd have to do it again.
Hopefully organic webs, because then he's got them forever.
Oh, then he can keep doing it. Yeah.
Because if he's got cartridges, it's only going as long as he's got the cartridges.
That is true. So yeah, hopefully it's Tom Holland or Insomniac with organic. That's the dream.
Yep. So good choice.
Yeah.
Good choice. I get it.
Make some real cool beds. I was going to say Tarzan, but I felt like it was on the nose.
Yeah, it is a bit.
He's not a superhero.
No. He's close to a Disney princess these days.
I mean, people say he's related to Elsa and stuff, don't they? Because of the parents looking alike.
Honestly, like, people create the most ridiculous fucking like lore for stuff.
But the thing is, it manifests from that, and then Disney go, "Yeah, you're right, because that's a good idea." Like, okay,
it's ridiculous.
Sure,
They're just coincidences, isn't it? At the end of the day, so. Anywho, but as you're there, just laying in your hammock, trying to stay away from Peter Parker's pork sword.
Yeah, like got a sore bum on the hammock.
Yeah, that's it. You're just
taking a break from God of War while he's giving it a bash. The game, not me. The game.
Yes, of course. I knew what you meant. And then you realise, actually, it looks like there's another boat coming in. And you're like, what's that? And you get a look. And you're having a real good look again. What? What is that? Oh my god. Pete, we've got problems. There's a fucking villain coming. Who is it?
Oh man. I didn't have a good time thinking of this one. This was tough. I had like 4 people that I couldn't choose from.
Damn.
And I'm still in my head bouncing between them all right now. Literally the past few days I've been stuck on one of these 4. I'm just gonna go for the safe one just because he's a favourite of mine, and it'd just be cool to see him. And hopefully, if he doesn't like me, then Spidey can help. I've gone Venom.
Really?
But when I say the villain, I'm hoping it's not Eddie Brock or like Flash Thompson in it. I'm hoping it's just the Vial.
What, so you just want the symbiote?
I just want the symbiote, dude. That's what Venom is. He's the symbiote.
Yeah, but he's only really contextually a person that can be stuck on that island with you when it has a host. You can't just go, I want some black slime on my island.
I think because then it might not bond to me, then it's just goo, isn't it? Oh, but then Peter will get it. And
also, and if it doesn't bond anything, it's just literally just some slime in a jar, just like...
Yeah, that's kind of... Yeah. Rule that one out.
I mean, you can have Venom, but you've got to pick a version of him.
It has to be one of the bad guy versions, so it can't be Flash Thompson, really. Which leaves us at Eddie Brock. You know what? Yeah, well, that's terrifying. Yeah, we'll go Eddie Brock. That would be exciting and terrifying all at once.
It's going to create some serious tension between you two. I mean...
Well, I just hope that I kick his ass and then I get the goo. The symbiote.
Oh, right. I was going to say, Jesus Christ, you're really not letting this bottom packer thing go. You just... Goddamn, son. Okay. Yeah, well... that's
I had a safer option, which still would have been really cool, but I feel like he'd be kind of boring to talk to. Great as a character, but boring to talk to. I was thinking Darth Vader.
Darth Vader, yeah. I mean,
I'd love to talk to him and have an actual conversation, but I feel like he just wouldn't have any of it.
He
I'm
wouldn't
like,
tell you,
"Ugh,
Jack. He wouldn't tell you, Jack.
boring.
Mm, of
Can I hold the lightsaber, please?" And he'd say no. I'm like,
course he would.
"Ugh."
Teach me
Peter
the way.
Parker would be asking him the same thing. He'd be like, "Can I hold it?" And we're both just there, like, "Please, sir." Darth Vader's there, like, about to throw his lightsaber at us. This is all sounding like an awful innuendo.
It is.
I can't not say anything without it sounding like we're trying to plead for Darth Vader's dick.
You've set a tone, unfortunately.
I'm trying to think of one of them was a funny one, and it was Mido from Ocarina of Time. It's not a villain, but I see him as a villain.
Really?
It's when you're trying to go to the Great Deku Tree,
Yeah.
and that little bastard won't let you past,
Standing in the way.
and he's just shimmying from side to side. Oh man,
Why would you want him on your island, though?
more because I see him as a villain, and so I can punch him.
So you literally just want him on the island so you can just
So I can
torture
punch him.
Yeah. Okay.
Just once to be like, this is for my childhood.
And
My
then
childhood needs this.
and then you're stuck on the
Because when you're a
island with him
kid-
for the
When
rest
you're
of
a
your
kid, and
life.
you're not really reading the context, and you're just
Yeah.
playing the game, and you're skipping everything. It's like, why is this guy not letting me past? When it's simple, just fucking talk to everybody in the game. That's the premise of the game.
Hmm.
And because I didn't, and he's just, I'm like trying to like barrel roll, trying to make a fast one on him, and no matter what I do,
Can't
he
do it.
does not move.
Hmm.
So I'm just like, I hate you so much, and I feel like it wouldn't, even if after I punched him, I'd be like, oh, I need to go get some bananas from that tree. He's gonna stand in the way of the tree. I'm like, Peter, man, if you don't sort this guy out, he's
You know
going
what?
to be meat.
I'd make it very clear if he was on the island. I would just make it very clear right from the start where we fucking stand, and I'd floor him and go, get him away again, son. See what happens.
Simple as you're simply here as a villain of me, but a punching bag.
Mm.
So
Well-
he was one of them as well.
Okay. However,
And
you went with Venom. Eddie
did.
Brock Venom.
Eddie Brock Venom, which is scary.
So what would you be doing with your time with Eddie Brock Venom on your island?
Well, hopefully on first meet, I'd stand back and I'd purely see how emotions play out. I'd see if he's mad, if him and Spider are on fair ground, and like even if they keep battering each other and like things like slowly eventually just die down, I'm like, guys will be good. I've just cooked up Mido.
He's not there.
I've just fried some coconut.
Fried coconut sounds delicious.
You would try anything when you've played God of War 3 so many times.
Mm.
I'm just like, surely you guys need to eat. Maybe not so much you, Venom, because you're an alien. But well, he needs chicken, and I'm not going to give him that, or brains or whatever. But I'm like, that's if you're talking about the weird Sony thing. So I'm like, but we can get fish. Like you can literally become a weapon and go into the water and get more fish and sharks, and I can cook it. And I'm like, and let's just hash this out, and I'll become a therapist for them both, a counselor. I'll get them to sit down and we'll hash it out, and then we'll just be three buddies. I'd be
Okay.
inadequate, but we'd be three buddies.
No,
And
I
then
like it.
I'd be like, Peter, can I, if he has got shooters, I'd be like, can I try the web shooters? I can't wall stick, so I like to try the shooters and fail because it's
No.
just trees.
No walls to stick on. Yeah.
Exactly, yeah. And with Venom, I'm like, can I attempt to bond? That'd be cool. And if it fails, fucking have that shit back, bro. I was
Yeah.
like, I don't want to die.
He
So-
also might misinterpret what you mean by bond.
See, this is where we're going again, right?
Yeah.
Because here we have the innuendo. You're thinking that I want him to,
Slot
butt
right
Parker
in.
him.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't think he'd be wanting to be a bottom. So, and then I'm gonna be fucking there with constantly sitting on an inflatable donut forever.
Yeah.
No. They get to a point where like, guys, just leave me alone. Like, hash this out between yourselves. I'm tired.
It's you that made this a sex island.
Man, just between me and Parker, and then it just got weird. You know what I'm saying? But
Who brought the black
I
slime?
feel like of the organic web shooters as well. What you on about? Refillable cartridges. Yuck. Fucking hell. But yeah, I'd say I'd chill, play God of War with Spidey, and depending how things come to terms with Venom as well.
Yeah.
It
Okay.
should be cool to see those in real, but also I would shit my actual pants to see Venom in real life.
It'd be pretty worrying. Yeah.
A fucking 9 foot, 10 foot tall dude just hunched over you at 10 foot. And I'm like,
You'd like to think though that you could reason with him in the sense of like, dude, we're stuck on a fucking desert island here.
I'm like, we literally can't escape. A one-way boat just brought you here.
Come on.
I'm like, yeah, literally. It's just...
Time for us to put our differences aside.
Do you guys like playing video games? We're starting to build like a thingy. We can actually play some sports. Yeah, we can start playing some sports now.
Yeah.
I'd literally be like, you know what? Hey, Venom, man, play through the games, dude. Let Eddie Brock do it, but you watch through him. That story arc, it might help you hash some stuff out with good old Null.
Yeah.
You know, in case you got like, daddy complex.
Some daddy issues going on, yeah.
That'll iron that shit right out. Promise you that. Play 3 and then the new 2. You'll be absolutely sorted, dude. Promise you that.
Agreed.
And then there we go. Hopefully things might balance out, but yeah.
Well, if not,
okay.
there's potentially something else that might help the recovery.
Oh, really? What would that be?
Well, you go just having a look around on one of the boats. You just like, well, there's a couple of boats here. Let's just go and see if there's anything in here that might be,
of course,
useful. You start digging through, and you're just like, holy shit!
A portable DVD player. What the fuck?
Portable DVD player with with one anime that I am most happy.
Box set
of every episode. I can watch all of it, binge it, and it's the one I am more than happy to watch again and again and again. But what is it?
We should attempt to. I feel like we're both on the same on this one. If I'm going to be honest.
Do you think?
Don't do this because you literally. I'm going to say mine. You say yours. But god damn it, I was going to say let's count down and say it at the same time. But it's probably the same. But it's anime, so I feel like it would be. I'm going to say that mine would be Dragon Ball, for obvious reasons.
But which one?
Oh. Okay, I thought we meant the collective. Okay, that's
because if you think about it, they're all individual series, are they?
Well, I mean, that's not even that tough. Come on, now it'd be the Z Saga.
It would be Z, wouldn't it?
Just for Cell Saga, I would happily just have that.
I mean, if you had to choose between all of them, you'd pick Z.
The most happens, like growth-wise in characters. Super, it's just kind of like little upgrades consecutively. In the Z Saga, it's trauma, boom, character building.
Yeah,
it's just the best one. And my guys, holy shit, just seen this DVD. Peter, you've probably seen these, but we're gonna have a laugh with this. I was like, let's get it on, and I'll just show them Dragon Ball Z. What would yours be, unless it's the same?
Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood.
Whoa. For a small part of me, I thought he was going to say X-Men, but I don't know if that was classed as an anime or not. It's just an animated show.
Yeah, that's not an anime. I mean, they did do an X-Men anime, actually, but no.
A Spider-Man anime, that was also rough.
Yeah. So, no, I won't watch that. But Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood, 100%. Okay. Because essentially it has ruined all anime for me. I've struggled to find anything that I can like as much as Full Metal Alchemist, which again is why it is on this arm, and it will continue to go onwards and upwards past that. But it's just incredible. There's barely a bad character in it. And in fact, I'd be hard pressed to think of a bad character, actually. That's how good it is. You know, I mean, in Dragon Ball, there's always probably a character you can say, oh my god, what a fucking dick.
I hate this character.
Yeah.
I could happily skip this character, yeah.
But in Full Metal Alchemist, I think I'd be hard-pressed to pick one that is like that, because they are all good for their own reason. Every character serves its purpose. They aren't simple NPCs. You know, every character in it is in it for a reason, and their life matters. And the story is so sophisticated and complex, and it has everything. Shadowy conspiracies, it's fucking got incredible action, it's very political, it is just simply incredible. And I reckon if most people could get their heads around the fact that, or get past the fact that it's an anime, and just simply watch it as a show. I mean, okay, it's hard to get past the fact that it is an anime when it does its usual, very typically Japanese humor from time to time with the crazy animation and the all and all that kind of stuff. But it is so fucking good. I mean, you need to watch it. If you watch it, I think it'll even change your mind about what your favorite anime is.
I don't know, man. Dragon Ball is just some points. It's just senseless fun, battering,
100%. 100%. You know, I mean, I've been a Dragon Ball fan since. Oh, I would have been about, I'd say maybe 14 when it aired in the UK for the first time. So I'd say I was maybe about 14, and I was fucking obsessed with it, and I'm still in love with it now. You know, and since watching Full Metal Alchemist, I'm like, yeah, I'm still obsessed with Dragon Ball. I still absolutely fucking love it. But if we're talking about deep, complex storytelling with rich characters that you could watch over and over and over again and get something different from it every single time, it is 100% Full Metal Alchemist, and Hawkeye and Magneto would love it. I think it'd change Magneto's life.
But the thing is, they are both very political people. So
And that's
I think you'd be onto something there. And I think Dragon Ball would work with me because Venom is growing. Eddie Brock he's like your school jock. I wouldn't really want to talk to Eddie Brock too much. And then you've got fucking, well, yeah, Spider-Man. I just love that shit. And then me, obviously.
Yeah. It's a good choice for you to be stuck on a desert island, especially when you think you've got the company that you've got.
I'd also think that I'd want to pick something that the people would also like.
You're picking for your audience, aren't you?
Well, for me and the people that I'd be sharing the island with as well.
Yeah.
So I just think that'd be a nice little giggle, and I could obviously geek out to them as well. And even if by chance they'd watched it, they'd also geek too, especially Spider-Man.
I mean, Dragon Ball Z was definitely in there as one of my choices. Like, that was always one of my, like, when I was trying to decide. But I ultimately leaned into Full Metal Alchemist because, again, if I didn't want to watch something that was real rich with storytelling, most episodes still have an awesome fight sequence in them. Yeah. And they're really stylish, and the animation is beautiful. It is incredible. So, honestly, I'm going to say this to the camera because I'm going to tell people to go and watch it, regardless of whether or not you like Japanese animation, anime, or whatever. I assure you, just go and watch it with an open mind, and I promise you, you will walk away from it a changed person. It is so philosophical as a show. It is simply incredible. I cannot talk about it enough of just how incredible it is. It is, yeah. There's no way I would not take that with me or whatever. If I was going to be stuck on a desert island, I could only watch that. Watch one of that category. It would 100% be that over Dragon Ball Z every day of the week.
Fair enough.
And that message I just said goes the same for you, Logan. Please go and watch it.
Yeah.
Please, so we can talk about it.
Just to talk about it. I'll have to give it a little dabble. I'll see it. Again, I've never tried it before, so I'll always try it once.
It's not just so we can talk about it, it's because I genuinely think you'd like it as well. I mean, the characters in it you'd love. You know, there's so many characters where I'm like, that's definitely a character that Logan would like. You know, it's fucking incredible. Honestly, please, just go watch it.
Well, is that on like Crunchyroll and shit?
No, it's not actually.
Not on Crunchyroll?
No, it's one of those weird ones where it's sort of like, who fucking has the right to this?
Asking me to watch something that's awkward to find. I mean, I could watch it online, so that's fine.
Dude, you'll find a way.
I'll find a way.
You'll find a way.
Me and Spider-Man will find a way.
And get Kira to watch it as well, because I watched it. See, my cousin.
Dude, she's still mad at me that we haven't finished fucking Dragon Ball yet.
Just tell her to shut up and just.
I think, yeah.
And
The thing is, as well, is that we're at the Android saga, so I fucking know she's gonna love it too.
Okay, yeah, fair enough. You've got to finish that then, because the
Just
Android
for
saga.
that saga, the Boo saga's it's okay, but come on.
Androids into
Right.
Cell. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, exactly.
It's the best moment. It's got peak everyone, peak Vegeta, peak Goku, peak fucking Gohan. Obviously,
it is the best saga in
that they've done
Z.
yet. So,
Oh, yeah, probably in everything actually. That is probably the best time for Dragon Ball Z. Is
it finally showed that Goku had risk because he was literally dying.
Trunks saga into Androids into Cell.
Absolutely.
Peak Dragon Ball ever.
Yeah, it's so fucking good. It's so good.
So yeah, okay,
And-
you've got to finish watching that with her, but then after that,
Full Metal Alchemist.
Kira will 100%, but it's got to be Brotherhood, Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood.
Brotherhood. Okay.
Yeah, not just Full Metal Alchemist. It's got to be the Brotherhood because they did Full Metal Alchemist first, and then they went back and did Brotherhood because after a certain point in the original anime, it strayed off in its own direction away from the manga.
Okay.
Because the manga hadn't finished yet. So it was a bit like like Game of Thrones, where Game of Thrones they finished their own their own story because the book wasn't finished.
And they shouldn't have.
Yes,
Shouldn't have.
have. So
I'm not very illiterate.
it's fine. I knew what you were saying. So yeah, that's that. But they went back and they were like, okay, it's finished now. We should probably do it again. And they did Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood, and that is by far the superior version. I was introduced to it by my cousin who lives in Canada. She was just like, if you're looking for something new to watch Full Metal Alchemist, but you've got to watch Brotherhood. Don't watch the other. So I've never watched the other. And as soon as it finished, I messaged her and I was like, that was fucking incredible. Like, this. I know we've been talking about it a long time now, but I then got Charlotte to watch it. And she was just like, oh, I don't know. And I was like, please, I promise you, you're going to love it. Like I said, I just know you will. You've just got to trust me on this one. Watch it. And when we finished it, she was like, it can't be over. That wasn't long enough. It was not long enough. She was like, I need more. And I said, that's all you're getting. That is it. And she was just like, well, we've got to watch it again. And we've watched it a couple of times. But yeah, you will obviously love it, but because of how rich the storytelling is in it and everything, Kira will love it as well. So if you're gonna watch it, watch it with Kira as well.
Cool. Okay. So as you are reminiscing on how good this is and talking to Clint Barton about, how good this is, Magneto makes his way to the other boat. Oh no, it was planes for you. My
Plans
bad.
for me.
Yeah, so another plane comes by, and a lot of pages and fluttering and falling from the sky, and one of them just kind of lands, and Magneto catches it. And he's like, "What is this?"
Well, he'd
Brittany, what is this?
for a start, drop the Brittany shit, son. All right, but
I just thought of it in my head, then I was like, I need to say this in a posh voice. Brittany.
He'd like this.
That's
actually.
an NPC, dude. That is an NPC. Big time.
Brittany, yeah, Brittany.
Brittany.
He'd like this, actually, because this is a graphic novel that I've read a few times, and I really liked it. And the reviews of it were mixed. Well, average to good, I would say. But personally, I really liked this storyline. And Magneto would appreciate it because it's House of M.
Okay. So he's more or less asking, why am I on a comic book?
Yeah, he's like, why am I on a?
Why he's going, Brittany, what is this? Why am I on this?
Why am I holding a book with me on it? Yeah, because
what is the M for? Is it for me?
It's for you. Yeah, I'd read House of M because I thought House of M was a great crossover storyline centered around X-Men, but it brought in the wider Marvel universe. And I've read it a few times, and I thought it was great because it sort of showed you a good amount of well, how it starts is traumatic, obviously, because it's Wanda, Scarlet Witch, losing the shit, after kind of spoiler alert here. Should maybe people haven't read it. What if I say something and people haven't read it?
Then just spoiler warn them that it's of the comic of House of M.
Right, spoiler alert. I'm going to talk about some plot points of House of M. If you haven't read it and you want to read it, then skip forward, and I don't know how I'm going to signal to you that you can listen. But yeah, you're going to want to skip.
I'll do this.
Yeah, you're going to want to skip for a few minutes. So I think the storyline of House of M, how it starts, is very traumatic with the whole breakdown of Wanda and the fact that, like, killing Vision and Hawkeye and everything. I think it's absolutely fantastic that it just starts in such a traumatic way, but then everything goes into this like perfect world where everyone's happy and everyone's got what they want. But I think it's also quite a nice little insight into these characters' minds of like, what is it that they so desperately deep down really wanted that would make them happy. So like,
okay.
Logan was like, Wolverine was like the fucking head of S.H.I.E.L.D., and he was married to Mystique.
Okay.
And everyone's like got their dream life in a way. But then they all start like realizing that, like, Magneto's in charge of everything and the world, and it's like, oh, okay, so clearly Magneto's been up to some shenanigans, so he can do what he wants, get his way, But then, as time goes by, you realize it's not quite as simple as that. But Hawkeye comes back after being like killed. He's alive and well again, and you realize he's alive. But then he gets the terrible news delivered to him that in reality, if things go back to normal, he won't actually be alive because he's been killed. And it ends on this fucking amazing like page where there's some ruins. I can't remember what the ruins are of now. I can't remember if it's the Xavier Mansion or the Avengers Tower. I can't remember now. But anyway, when reality eventually gets turned back to normal, they're like, oh, well, shit, that's it. Then Clint's dead again. Barton's dead. But then they've realised that they can see Hawkeye's old costume, with the sort of like the purple sort of like mask and everything.
Yeah.
And it's stuck on the wall with arrows. And there's like a newspaper clipping about Hawkeye being dead. And they're like, what does this mean? But it's because he's back, like the changing of realities brought him back to life and he's alive again. And that's when he takes on the role of Ronin. And it's just overall, it's just a really cool storyline. I think, like, everyone being given exactly what they wanted out of life. If everything was perfect, but then the fact that it's just not really real. It's fucking cool. And they all like sort of come together and they get their minds back and they realise they're in some sort of warped reality, and the X-Men with the Avengers and lots of others all have to come together to sort of like turn things back to normal. It's a great storyline. I fucking love it. It's great, and I've read it a good few times, and I think it's just dying for the MCU to bring it in.
Something like that.
Yeah, they need to bring that into a storyline somewhere down the line. They've had a breakdown with Wanda before. They can do it again. She's never really a fucking stable mind anyway, the crazy bitch. So they most definitely can do it, and they absolutely should do it. And yeah, it's just dying for an MCU adaptation, 100%.
Oh yeah.
And obviously Magneto's right in the center of it all, which is obviously a great thing anyway, because he's such a great layered villain. Yeah, it's fucking great. I'd happily read that over and over again. So if I was stuck on an island and I had to have one graphic novel or comic, it was a hard choice. I had many others on the list. Maximum Carnage was on there.
That's a good one.
Yeah, great one. Maximum Clonage as well, with the introduction of Scarlet Spider. The Clone Saga and everything.
Oh, yeah, Ben Reilly.
Yeah, that's it. He's my favourite version of Spider-Man.
Peter Parker, always OG. I mean, to be fair,
There they are. R2. Our boys.
that actually was yours.
It was.
Or yours, guys, and Charlotte gave it to me.
It did.
And then there was a Venom one there. And then when I brought this one home, I was like, oh, rare. I was like, I'm going to have these two. There's going to be Venom and Spider-Man both on the wall. And then Array was like, but I want one. I was like, really? I was like, okay.
You don't get to have one because they're daddies. God damn it.
But I was like, but in my head, I was kind of like, oh, God. I was like, but
it's kind of cool that
she wants it. Yeah.
Yeah, that's
so I'm like, okay, pick one.
That is kind of cool.
So she looked at them both. She's like, I want Venom. I was like, okay. A 4-year-old with like a Venom like on a wall, like gruesome and all this like drool out of his mouth. I'm like, you weird child.
That's pretty badass though.
It's pretty awesome.
It's pretty badass. Cool. But yeah, and I had some others. I mean, like Watchmen. I really like Watchmen.
Watchmen's pretty cool.
That's a great. Yeah,
I don't know much of it, but basically, don't fuck with Dr. Manhattan for certain.
And I love Rorschach. Rorschach as a character is just fucking awesome. So great characters in that. So Watchmen was on there.
I don't have as vast as a comic library, and all mine I used to borrow off Tom, Kira's brother. So,
but there's a few others, but yeah, I ultimately went for that.
Cool.
And as Venom is tearing through this fucking boat,
he finds it.
He's digging through
wild.
And he pulls
I'm gonna snatch it off him before he rips it. That's what I'm gonna do.
Pulls it out and he's like, "Watch this shit," and then you're just like,
"Whoa!"
And you're like, "Fucking whoa!"
I was like, "This is a tale. This is a story to lo and behold of a legacy. This is the story of Old Man Logan we're talking about here."
I knew you'd pick that. I knew it.
It was tough, man. I had 3 before I delved into why it's Old Man Logan. I was stuck on 3. It was either going to be, I don't have the comic for Old Man Logan, not anymore, but it was going to be Back in Black, Deadpool.
I wondered if that might be one of them. Yep.
Because it's set just when Spider-Man rejects it, and it falls to Wade Wilson before it goes to Eddie Brock, and it explains why he becomes a bit more insane.
Mm-hmm.
So when he goes to Eddie Brock, it explains why he's so mentally unstable.
Yep.
And then that's why Venom, when he's Venom, is just chaos, because Venom struggles to fight with Wade Wilson's mind.
Yep.
So as a concept, it's beautiful, and it's set just after during the time of Secret Wars, like back in the one that's set in 1980 something, and it's set in that kind of timeline where Deadpool's going through his own Secret Wars.
Yeah.
So he's dibble dabbling and weaving and helping and things like that, but also doing his own shit, like Deadpool does.
Mm-hmm.
Wherever he can make a buck, basically, and obviously he finds this good old friend.
Yeah.
And they kind of work together and stuff. It's quite cool because they kind of binned the old Venom pull, which was a Hulk version, which is still massive. But yeah, I prefer the Back in Black one because it's a lot cleaner, the suit, and he has a lot of entanglements with brief moment with Daredevil. There's a nice moment with Black Cat and stuff like that. But going past it, it was going to be a different Deadpool one, where it was Deadpool kills the Marvel Universe.
Yeah.
Really enjoyed that one because he literally went into in-depth description of how he literally kills every single version of the Marvel Universe.
That was a fairly recent one, wasn't it?
Do I have it? I feel like I used to have it. That might be the book up there. One quick sec.
Roger that.
It's a thick boy.
Just like me.
And Deadpool kills the Marvel Universe, and it's just, for those that haven't, it's a pretty good fucking read, that's for certain.
Nice.
There's cool ones where there's a Guardians of the Galaxy one. This is just a different one now, where Flash Thompson gains the symbiote, and he joins the Guardians of the Galaxy, but Star-Lord is like the emperor of a planet. So Kitty Pryde is Star-Lord because she's his wife. So that one's a quite a cool one. And then they go to Clintar, obviously Planet Symbiote, where Null's there, and they take out Null because the symbiote's trying to drag him back because he senses something wrong. That one's a fun one. There's a zombie Deadpool one where he's the only one that can't turn into a zombie, but everybody else is a zombie.
Right.
Because his healing factor is just a little bit better than Wolverine's.
Yeah.
So like Wolverine struggling. You've got a few survivors like Punisher. Punisher like keeps getting pissed off at Deadpool, so he cuts them up into individual pieces and puts them in like locked safes, so he can't regenerate. But like
honestly, he's my boy. Is Punisher.
Punishers. If you read that one, dude, I've got both of them because it's in parts. They are a brutal read, really, really brutal reads.
Yeah.
Whereas like killing like kids and stuff like that. That's not the reason why it's a brutal read. Well, it is why it's brutal, but it's because they're zombie kids.
Yeah.
And things like that. But it's just like how he kills Hulk is just absolutely wild. It's just crazy. But Old Man Logan. Just how it comes to his end, and it just feels like a chef kiss almost, and it's just trying to have his final moments of just trying to do what is good. Like, and he's literally on deathbed, and you get Old Man Hawkeye in there too,
which is also a good read actually. When they did the book for Old Man Hawkeye, which is like the prequel. I've got that down there as well. I've got Old Man Logan and Old Man Hawkeye.
Does it make sense how Logan is old and Hawkeye is old?
Well, yeah. I mean, but then, like, when you think about the amount of years that have gone by for Logan anyway, by the time Hawkeye would be old, maybe that it's time that he's picked up. Also, his healing factor's failing, so that means that his aging would speed up
as well. It's just cool because he runs into the symbiote and it's a fucking T-Rex.
Yeah, I know.
It's literally, oh my god, I can't remember the Rex's name. I hate myself.
Can't remember either.
Devil Dinosaur. That's the name that I was thinking of.
That's right.
Devil Dinosaur. And obviously it's a venomized version of that. Wolverine fucking plays with that and he realizes that I don't kill it and just fucking runs off anyway. But then you've got Hulk's offspring, which unfortunately is also the children of She-Hulk. So Hulk's disgusting rampage bangs his cousin? No.
Yeah.
Yes, that's right, yeah. And have 3 offspring, which are all Hulklings, and they're all proper, like, hillbilly kind of, as you'd expect from incest babies, but Hulklings. And it's quite nice because Hawkeye helps him with those, even though they don't. But those, I think those can die, couldn't they?
Yeah. They seem to get dispatched easier, don't they?
Yeah, absolutely. And and then just obviously throughout of it, whatever the main part of chaos was, obviously, as Logan brings his way to the end, he just kind of lets time take its toll on him as he like says goodbye on a beautiful view and stuff. And in all honesty, it leads. I don't know if do you know the comic that's actually set directly after that. It's a very humorous comic that doesn't quite fit the bill, but it's beautiful.
No, I don't think I do.
So there used to be some comic stories called The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. Which was Wolverine, Captain America, and Deadpool.
All right.
All veterans of war. All being subject to scientific experiment. Is the only reason Captain America respects Deadpool is because he understands that not everyone can always be okay when they're going through procedures.
Yeah.
That's why he respects, like, you know, he can appreciate, like, he's trying to do good. So therefore he'll just give him his space, and if he stepped over the line, he'll tell him he's over the line. That's Cap.
Yeah.
But just directly afterwards, you've got Old Man Cap, who has like a cane. And you've got like Deadpool, which is still quite youthful because again his healing factor is incredible because he doesn't have the adamantium, so he's just all in good health still. And there's moments where he's like piggybacking Captain America into these fights and stuff. And it's just some real funny moments. And they end up attempting to save him. And it's kind of like, and at the end of it, they're finally managing to be able to save him. And then they decide not to.
Right.
Because it's not what he would have wanted. So it's kind of like, let's just leave him alone.
Yeah.
But it's like, obviously they do a full thing and it's just kind of like, never mind.
Yeah.
It's a really beautiful, fun read.
Yeah.
And going from how dark Old Man Logan is a nice, beautiful thing for that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the Old Man Logan managed to find his way into the mainstream sort of like comic of X-Men at one point, and that was just weird. It's just like he really kind of took away from the from the story and the meaning of what Old Man Logan as a story is. It's just like, yeah, but it's not. Old Man Logan isn't about the character, it's more about the meaning of the character, and I really didn't like it when they sort of brought Old Man Logan into the X-Men story, into the X-Men stories, the mainstream stories, and in the present sort of time. I was just like, this isn't the point. It's not. Old Man Logan isn't so great because it's an old version of Wolverine. It's about bringing his story to an end. That's what makes it such a good story. And I just kind of felt like they really missed the point with it. But I don't think I was the only one who had that complaint about that, really. So, yeah. But anyway, but yeah, it's a great book, and I love the world that it really sort of created for itself.
Absolutely.
Like
it created like a savage land, really, didn't it?
Yeah, it was sort of like Marvel meets Mad Max, wasn't it? Really, that's
what it became.
Yeah, and I really sort of liked that. I like it when they do these futuristic turns on potential futures for superheroes. It's like the Dark Knight Returns. Yeah. You get the Dark Knight Returns. It's like what would become of Bruce Wayne when he's old and he's given up Batman and this desire to become Batman again, even though he's past it. And then Superman basically being the government's, workhorse, does everything for him. And then how would them two eventually clash, as they ultimately would. And DC.
That's what Sorry, carry on.
I was just going to say, DC really loved this idea of vigilantes, superheroes being outlawed. And I always love that as a concept as well. I think that.
Oh yeah.
That is a brilliant concept. The idea of what would superheroes do if they weren't allowed to do what it is that they do. And I really love that concept. I think it's brilliant.
The funny thing is that even in the comics, they're constantly getting told not to do it, but they still do it anyway. But, yeah. But Old Man Logan would definitely be the only comic book to survive that I would keep and just be like, "I'm about Spidey. You'd fucking love this."
Yeah. Well,
yeah, that's what I'd keep.
No, that'd
be my desert island. God of War, Spidey, Venom, and Dragon Ball, of course, and Old Man Logan.
And mine would be Resident Evil, Hawkeye, Magneto, watching Full Metal Alchemist, Brotherhood, and reading House of M until our end of days.
Literally till days end, and you just have Eddie Brock and Venom just out surviving us.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
Yeah, blissful.
But that brings us to an end of our Desert Island Nerd episode, should I say? And Nerd. And I hope you've all enjoyed this one. If you have 5 that you'd like to pick and tell us what your favourite, your chosen Desert Island game franchise, superhero, villain, anime, and comic/graphic novel would be, just drop it in a comment or...
Also, if you haven't watched an anime, you can slightly alter your question, and we will allow animated show.
Okay, yeah, go on then. Yeah, because
just for those that maybe aren't as geeky, still enjoy it. A good cartoon. You've still got Ben 10.
Yeah,
Ben 10's a great cartoon. Classic Ben 10, anyway.
Well, everyone had a favourite cartoon when they were growing up, so
exactly, just that. Just say
cartoon, animated show, whatever. Yeah, we won't restrict it to anime because we understand anime is not for everyone. So go on then.
But yeah, everything else is not getting changed. So
no, you have to pick those and just let us know what you think. And let us know what you think to our choices. If you think our choices were pretty good, we'd like to know.
Yes.
But in the meantime, I think it's time to bring this to an end.
Indeed. We won't prolong it too much because that's what we have fucking.
We have a
track
tendency
record
of just
doing.
talking and talking and talking, don't we? But
Till the end. But yeah.
is
So
there, any,
just-
is there anything else
I was
from
just
you,
gonna
Logan?
I was just going to say, feel free to follow us on TikTok,
Yes.
Instagram, and Facebook.
Yes.
And also subscribe, or if you have any interest in Resident Evil or anything of extraordinary, what's the word that I'm looking for?
Supernatural and paranormal
There
tendencies.
we go. Then please go to Minigrim on YouTube.
Yes, I'd like that. And drop us a comment on there because it does help the podcast get found and noticed by other people. So yeah, if you
Absolutely.
do listen or watch the podcast on my channel, just dropping a comment or even just giving it a thumbs up really does help get that pushed out to other like-minded people. So yeah, please do that. And if you're listening to us on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, a rating or even a review will also really help the podcast get put in front of new people and new listeners who hopefully will enjoy it just as much as you did. And yeah, check out the social media that Logan just mentioned. We try and keep that updated regularly with with updates for upcoming episodes and things like that.
I'm going to start just filling those stuff with crap just so it gets us more repetition and gets us out there a bit more as well.
Bit more traffic.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay then. Well, in that case, if that's it, let's leave it there. And until next time, goodbye, my dude.
And I'll see you soon, my guy.
See you later, everybody. Thank you. Bye.
My dude, my guy.